Okay, that's going to be a tough one to follow up on, Faye. Thank you so much for that, and Radhika, that was really brilliant, and I think it really set the stage in terms of, all the stuff we've had to leave outside the room to be in this room. So I think it's going to be great to now get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritties, okay, of the how. And for that, I think it's great that we have somebody like Smita joining us, because here's a woman who's really been through that journey. She has taken her business child and gone from 0 to 1 to 1 to 10 to 10 to 100, and now looking at the 100 to infinity zone. So I thought it'd be lovely, given the number of women entrepreneurs we have here today, would love to first do a little show of hands in terms of who all are at the 0 to 1 journey. Okay, great. And who all are at the 1 to 10 journey? Okay, 10 to 100. Okay, all right. So now we know, Smita, which are the areas that we are going to really focus on. And of course, then you will also know what is coming up in the future. Don't be scared though, with baby steps. So let's start, Smita, by telling us a little bit about the 0 to 1 journey. If you can kind of tell us, first of all, how this idea even got sparked. What were you doing before that? And then how did you go into finding product market fit?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so just very briefly, what we do is we, we as a company provide integrated academic solutions to affordable private schools in the country, which is basically curriculum and technology for us to uplift student outcomes in these schools. And our current reach is around 8,000 schools across the country with around, we're impacting and working with 5 million students. And it's been 11 years since I've been doing this. I think with that context, see, my original education background was I was a CA and I was working in PNG. But in 2007, I moved back to India. I was living in Singapore, moved back to India. And that was also the year I became a mother. And, I don't know how many of you are aware, but there are these international standard assessments that happen and that rank countries on the quality of their education system. And Singapore is amongst the top 10 education countries for K-12. India has participated in that assessment only once, and we were number 72 out of 73 countries that participated. And then in the true Indian style, we said, oh, this assessment is not good. The whole world believes in it, but no. We have these few IIT kids who go to the US and who become Sundar Pichai or whoever. And that means our entire education system is good, which is unfortunately not the case. So what happened for me, it was a very personal journey that when I became a mother and we were moving back to India, I felt that I am now, for very personal reasons or selfish reasons, I'm moving back here, but I'm not doing the right thing for my child. And hence, I need to step in, learn how child development happens, and see how I can double down. And that's where my journey began. So very briefly, I started first with a non-profit. I became aware of the fact that actually I should not worry about my kid. There are more kids that we should be worrying about. And I started with a non-profit, and then I eventually started a school. So the 0 to 1 journey really was one for me to realize that uh, education in India is a very, very large problem. We have 260 million school-going children. Out of that, only 10 million children get good quality education. 250 million kids get very poor quality education. And we can't be a great nation if we don't make a change in that number. And I think once I figured that, I sort of decided that this is my life's mission. Whatever number of kids I can reach out to, I'll be happy and I'll be satisfied. And that 0 to 1 journey was, I first set up a school, and this was in a village in Gujarat, and we went really deep. We went really, really deep in understanding what are the learning challenges, how do you solve it. I learned how to teach, I learned how to create curriculum, I went out and visited some of the best schools around in the world, and I just learned and learned and learned and went deeper and deeper and deeper. And the 0 to 1 journey was really 5 years. And it was 5 years of moving away completely from finance and strategy to being an educator, a teacher, and a parent to all these children who were coming to my school, because pretty much their parents had just given their kids to me. So, I think if I have to sort of abstract what were some of the key learnings, or, what were some of the key principles that helped us scale, one is you have to be really obsessed with the problem that you want to solve. My obsession was not setting up a company. My obsession was not to be an entrepreneur. My obsession was not me. My obsession was, and now 15 years later also is, that I want to make an impact in every child's, Indian child's life as much as possible. And the more kids I reach out to, I think my life is worth living. That's the way I think. So one, be really obsessed about a real problem. Second is go very deep. So I didn't come from the education background. It meant I had to learn. I had to learn how to be a teacher. I went to Harvard Graduate School of Education. I learned some of the best things that were happening around the world, and I contextualized it for our students, and that's where our product emerged. And if I hadn't gone that deep, I don't think we would have something that was worth scaling. So we never thought of, oh, it's been only so many years. And
So, but Smita, how did you realize that you had reached that point? Yeah, how did you realize that your 0 to 1 journey was complete and you were ready to embark on the 1 to 10?
yeah. So I think, for us, or for me, the only North Star metric was student outcome. Here are kids coming from rural India. Their English mastery, their mastery on different subjects was the only North Star metric. I figured that we have now come to a place where we can scale, and we should scale, is when consistently we had very, very high student outcomes. Now what that means is most kids who used to come to my school had at least 3 years of learning gap. What that means is a 5th grade student is at a 2nd grade level. And we were actually able to bump up their learning by 1.5 years in one academic cycle in that village. So now I had kids who were speaking fluently in English, who were learning math, who were very confident, and who were great learners. You couldn't tell the difference whether they are growing up in Mumbai or they're growing up in Areri village where we had set up our first school. And I think that when we did consistently is when we said that, hey, now let's spread this magic and take it to more people. That's also when we raised money. I never distracted myself with raising money before, which I think brings me to the other choice I made in the 0 to 1 journey, being very focused only on solving the problem, nothing else.
Fantastic. Okay, that's superb. And I think I'm sure that gives a big relief to those entrepreneurs who are in the 0 to 1 journey and wondering, ki, when will I move to the next one? But there is no really one right answer to that, right? And I love what you said, that it was about finding the solution and being able to consistently find that solution and figure out you can do it in a scalable manner. Yeah. So then let's get into the scaling part, which is the 1 to 10, because a whole different journey altogether. I'm assuming that included, challenges in scaling, team building. Walk us through some of the challenges and the learnings in that journey.
So I think the 1 to 10 journey, I would say, is the phase where, we moved from running our own schools to now partnering with schools. It meant we went from 4 schools to 1,000 schools in a matter, I think, in 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years. And that's how rapidly we scaled. It meant, I think there were, if I have to sort of abstract from it, I would say three big things, right? One is you must understand what is that nugget of outcome. Many times people call it unit economics. For me, it was, how am I making that one school really effective and good with great student outcomes and great unit economics, and then you just replicate. So if you haven't figured that nugget, you are not ready to scale, because scaling is a different set of problems. Now, scaling meant we had to figure out GTM, because till now I was not selling to others. I was running my own school. But scaling meant I had to figure out how to convince or reach people and see how their schools can get transformed. So that was one, we had to figure that out. Second is scaling meant that I can't do everything myself. I need to have people. And I think one big learning was that, you have to only get believers. People who believe in 2 things. People who believe in your mission and care about it as much as you do. People who believe in you. because they are only actually coming and joining the organization because of you. You are the brand, you are the equity. And that is a trust you can never break, right? So I think that is the second big thing, that you hire people who actually are missionaries or who are believers. And I think the third thing is that you have to continue to stay very deep and continue to innovate during that phase. I think those, I would say, are the three big things, including the choice of investors that we made followed the same principle of believers. Our early investors were deep believers in the mission and in the way we were solving it. And second, were deep believers in me and my co-founder, and backed us through all the good and bad times. I would also say, and this is an interesting one, that the 1 to 10 journey also for us had COVID in the middle of it. And when I was in PNG before this, BCP's business contingency plan was always on paper. I'd never lived through a BCP. And at some point, my board had asked me, do you have a BCP? And I was like, yeah, we'll get there. And then we just sort of all dived in. Now, for our business, it pretty much meant everything is shut, because we are a school technology company. We work in the classrooms. We don't do online. And we had to now move, we had to really move online, right? And I think the mantra at that time within the organization that me and my co-founder used was, when the whole world zigs, we will zag. What that meant is, when the whole world stopped and said, oh, schools are not working, we will make school work under any circumstances, because we cannot abandon our kids and our students. What that meant was that we took our schools, 800 schools, we took them online with our own teachers and our own tutors in 11 days. I still remember the date, 11th March, Bangalore was the first city that said schools will be shut. We had end-year examinations with our kids end of March, and 1st April, all schools were supposed to begin in the north. And no one had that view. And I knew that that's the vantage point we have. We see this, and we see that these 800 schools with whatever number of students we had at the time will suffer, and we cannot allow that to happen. And in 11 days, we went online. For 2 years, we ran online school, and very happily, when schools reopened, we always propagated for it. We very happily junked that part of the product, because kids belong in schools. They do not belong online behind a laptop screen. So I think that's been
brilliant. That
the
is
1
really
to 10
fantastic.
journey.
All right, now let's move to the next part, okay? Because what brought you till 10 is not going to take you from 10 to 100, yeah? So what are some learnings from that you faced?
Yeah, see, I think one thing is that I don't believe that we are in the 100 to infinity journey yet. I think we're in the 10 to 100 journey. What I mean by that is, back in last year was when we did our Series E, we were around 2,000 schools, and in 1.5 years, we've now grown to 8,000 schools. It has meant we've done both organic growth and inorganic. So we've acquired a company that was new. It was new for me. It was new for my co-founder. And I think the Series E, which was also the unicorn round for us, meant now that we are a larger organization which has such large impact that you have a different set of responsibilities on your shoulder, on your shoulders, right? So for us, for me, the 10 to 100 journey is to take it to IPO. So we still have a few years to go. I think the 100 to infinity journey is the post-IPO journey, I would say. Now, I think in this phase, few things, right? One is you have to be profitable. I never understood this conversation in media. And I'm so glad I heard you, Faye. I don't know. I don't think they understand businesses. They just say things. And I've had so many media people ask me, now are you thinking of profitability? And I was like, I'd be foolish if I was thinking about it now and not earlier. Which unicorn is not supposed to be profitable, right? So I think it's about stabilizing what's been really working very well, because we have a very good, solid business. But that's not the end of it, because if I see the market, I still reach out to 5 million students out of 260 million. That's a drop in the ocean, right? And what that means is that now for me to scale, I have to think of the metric of scale very differently. And that metric of scale, like our goal for us is get to 25 million kids by 2028. That's 4 years away, 5 years away. And now it means that every year the number of schools I have to add and number of students I have to add to our family is much larger, which means the nugget of growth is very different. Some of the principles though remain the same. One, the only thing that gets you to scale and the only thing that matters is innovation. Are you really making a difference to someone's life? If not, you don't deserve to scale. Please don't waste your time or anyone else's time. Scale only something that is making a difference to humankind, otherwise don't scale it. Now, scale means you solve product problems very differently. So we now have a portfolio of products because one product, one curriculum is not the way all of Indian kids can learn. There are many different ways. I know I'm constantly taking education examples because that's all that I know about. The second thing is that the way you work with teams is very different. The way you build caliber is very different because now you need experts from the industry to partner with you. I think there the principle still of missionaries versus mercenaries still stands true for us, which means that all people in my organization have to love and care about the problem of student learning as much as I do. If they don't, then they don't belong in my leadership team because we will never see eye to eye. Because I get asked this question that, what have you done when you've had to choose profit over student outcome? And I was like, that is a non-existent situation for me. Something we tell everyone in our business, in EdTech, Saraswati comes first, Lakshmi automatically follows. So I think that has to be the mantra. Now, if a business person who joins my team doesn't get it, then they don't get it. And it's going to be very tough for me to get them to understand. So still, I would say missionaries versus mercenaries, essentially those who care about themselves versus those who care about a larger cause. In our case, it's education. In your case, it could be something very different, are really the people who can partner with you and scale this.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Smita. I think that was very well elucidated in terms of how that journey ramps up and scales up. And we wish you the very best for your 100 to infinity journey. And, we'll be here at the CXXO Summits and, going to get a catch up on you on how that journey came and what learnings there were from that. So thank you so much for being so frank with us today.
Thank you so much. Yeah.